Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Let's Talk, the series where we've been rocking 80s hair before it was cool. This is your friendly neighborhood Birdman, and today we're talking Thor, Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder is the fourth Thor film, the first of the original Avengers to receive a fourth film. It tells the story of what happened with Thor as he joins the Guardians of the Galaxy after Earth's defeat of Thanos. Thor reflects on the centuries he spent fighting bad guys, and he wonders what he really wants to do with his life. Meanwhile, Gorr, a man who has lost faith in the gods due to them abandoning him and his dying daughter, acquires a cursed sword that gives its wielder the capability to kill even the most powerful gods. Elsewhere, Jane Foster, Thor's ex-girlfriend, is diagnosed with terminal cancer and, while searching for a cure for her disease, is called to the broken pieces of Mjolnir. In the hopes the magical hammer can cure her, she, like Captain America, receives the powers of Thor and helps Thor in his attempt at stopping Gorr from killing all the gods in the universe. It should come as no surprise, but Chris Hemsworth absolutely kills it here. Thor has always come across as the most emotionally complex of the original Avengers to me, being the one that has gone through the most traumatic events. Chris nails that aspect of the character where he'll have you laughing like a maniac in one scene and tearing up in the next. In that respect, Thor has probably been the most interesting Avenger to watch, as you get a sense that under his jokes and mighty facade, he's dealing with some real problems. It should be stated here that if you didn't like Thor in Ragnarok, you will not like him here, as this is where the character lives now, and he's not going back. What I'm saying is, this movie is a comedy, and the comedy involving Thor himself is ramped up to 11. If you aren't a fan of this, Love and Thunder is not going to do anything to convince you otherwise. That said, I found this film hilarious. I'm on the side of, I like the comedy in the MCU, so I was having a great time. Quite a bit of the comedy comes from Mjolnir and Stormbreaker becoming actual characters in the film. Yes, you heard that right. There's a ton of physical comedy involving the weapons that went over very well in my theater. But surprisingly, I found this film very emotional at times, specifically with scenes involving Gorr and his daughter and the end credits scene. More than a few times, I began to tear up at the developments in this wacky space opera, and that was something definitely unexpected going into this thing. As for Gorr himself, I thought Batman did a fantastic job. The character is definitely toned down from the comics, but I thought Bale was brilliant and was proper threatening. He's not a villain where you don't feel the heroes aren't in danger. What I loved most, though, was a scene involving Gorr at the end of the second act that looked like the video game Limbo had a baby with a 90s Tim Burton animated film. That entire sequence was legendary, and I think it'll go down as one of the best pieces of cinematography in the MCU. As for things I didn't much care for, I thought the Guardians of the Galaxy were criminally underused. The ending of Endgame set up the idea that we'd be getting the adventures of Thor and the Guardians, but we definitely did not. Even at 2 hours, this film feels short for an MCU movie, so I'm not exactly sure where we could have gotten more shenanigans with the Guardians, but I was kind of hoping for more of their time spent together, and this film gives us what are essentially cliff notes of their adventures. I also found Jane Foster kind of underwhelming. Lady Thor is a cool character in the comics, but she's a little flat in this movie. There's some leftover romance between her and Thor, which I found really cute at times, but when it's not that, I guess I didn't really care. She was more interesting out of the suit than in it, so Lady Thor feels like a tacked-on element of the story rather than being sacrosanct. Overall, I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would. I typically avoid reviews before I can write my own, but I kept hearing rumblings that this movie wasn't very good. That then made me go into this thing a little nervous, especially since Phase 4 isn't exactly the best phase of the MCU. But this is why they always say, see a movie for yourself, because in my opinion, while not as good as Ragnarok, it deserves to be held in that same regard, as it's just as funny and even more emotional. The Lady Thor plotline did feel like an afterthought, and I really wish this movie didn't press fast forward on the Guardians, because their interactions with Thor are so good. If you didn't like Ragnarok, maybe you should avoid this thing, but if you did, I think you'll have a good time at the movies. Oh, and bring the tissues. You might just need them. A B.